So, the Montreal Canadiens got some reinforcements. Big news out of the Habs Twitter account today. Forward Oliver Kapanen is scheduled to rejoin the team later today. And this is some pretty good news. We had already made a video yesterday talking about the idea of Oliver Kapanen coming over to the Montreal Canadiens and maybe taking Josh Waugh's spot, for example. Josh Waugh, who hasn't really been playing all too much and who hasn't really been too great in the limited sample he has had back with the Canadiens in the past few weeks here. Oliver Kapanen, by the way, has been very good in the Swedish Hockey League. We had spoken about this yesterday, but he was a point-per-game guy in the regular season, and he had half a point a game in the playoffs, which isn't as good, but still, his level of play as a number one center for Timrå IK was incredible. We already saw him earlier this season work his way onto the regular Montreal Canadiens because he had a very impressive training camp. He wasn't ready to fully make that jump and be a full-time 82-game NHL player. That's okay, he's only 21 years old, but he went back over to Europe. He was really good, and now this is the reward. Oliver Kapanen is back with the regular Montreal Canadiens. Now, there is another conversation that I think we do need to have about Oliver Kapanen, and it's one that a lot of folks in the replies on the Twitters are going out there and talking about. A lot of folks on there are saying, hey, Kapanen, you gotta change your number. Because last time when Kapanen was with the Montreal Canadiens, you can see on the images he was wearing number 91. And that is, of course, a number that I think a lot of Canadiens fans would associate with a different prospect that exists in the organization in one Ivan Demidov. And the question is whether or not Demidov is going to come over to the Montreal Canadiens and whether or not he'll also wear number 91. If that's the case, then Oliver Kapanen, I mean, is it going to be dibs? Is Demidov going to have to change his number to something else because Kapanen's already got 91? Or is Kapanen going to go with, like, number 22 or something? Just get a different number in there because, hey, 22's available with Cole Caulfield getting rid of it. So, is this a big idea, in your opinion? Like, are you thinking about the numbers in the same way that some other Canadiens fans are? Because Ivan Demidov is coming, folks. He's going to be here probably at the end of May and the start of June. That is probably the earliest time we will see Demidov be a part of the Canadiens organization. Not that he's not a part of it now, it's just kind of, you know, he's still over there in Europe. It's not guaranteed the Canadiens even play any games in June. Probably not even, but we'll see, right? If by some miracle the Montreal Canadiens make the Stanley Cup Finals and they are playing games in June, and Ivan Demidov is the new reinforcement to help out this team in the finals, then that would be absolute best case scenario. Obviously, it's not going to happen. I don't think Ivan Demidov is going to make his heroic debut with the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals this season, but it does exist, that possibility, so if that does occur and Demidov wants to wear number 91, do you give it to him? Do you say, hey, sorry, Kapanen, but this guy of greater importance than you is coming over onto our team, and we want to give him that number that you got right there? I guess it remains to be seen, but for now, Ivan Demidov is going to be one of the other names we'll keep our eyes on here. Oliver Kapanen, though, is the new name on the block. Maybe not new, necessarily, because he did suit up for the team earlier this season, but he is going to be a part of the Canadiens organization going forward. We'd already spoken about this the other day. It's not necessarily guaranteed that he goes to Laval or something, because he was already playing very well in the Swedish Hockey League, and the Canadiens could use that support right now. So Kapanen is over with the team. Let's go over to another update from Pierre Lebrun as to one of the other prospects we've been paying attention to. He went out there and tweeted this earlier this morning. There's no reason for Habs fans to be stressing about not having a Jacob Fowler decision yet. I think it's unlikely he stays in school for another year. The likeliest option is that he joins AHL Laval for the rest of the season, but with Laval out west right now, there is no urgency. So, we did speak about this yesterday. Some reports coming out saying that Jacob Fowler may actually be interested in sticking around in Boston College. Not necessarily interested in signing with the Montreal Canadiens right away, either in an AHL or an NHL capacity. This caused a lot of Canadiens fans in the comment section of our video to freak out, saying, hey, is this guy going to be able to commit to Montreal? Does he want to be in our organization? Is he going to decide to stick around in the NCAA long enough to become a free agent? There were some people imagining the worst case scenario like that, but don't worry, I don't really think that's going to happen here. Jacob Fowler, though, does have Montreal on his Twitter profile picture. It's a picture of him as a young kid in a Montreal Canadiens jersey. So I think that's probably a good sign, right? Him representing the Montreal Canadiens even on his social media, like Ivan Demidov is on his own Instagram page. That's pretty good. So for Jacob Fowler, Pierre Lebrun calming everything down here, saying, hey, I don't really think there's that big of a possibility that he decides to go back over to the NCAA. It's probably going to be Laval. It's just for now, there doesn't seem to be any urgency. Laval isn't even in Laval. They're out west. So there is a little bit of breathing room here for the Jacob Fowler decision. And besides, if you were hoping for Jacob Fowler to play in the National Hockey League, like some of the folks on L'Antichambre on the TVs were going out there and saying, the Montreal Canadiens do not play the Nashville Predators or the weaker Chicago Blackhawks until, like, next week? Sunday. Yeah, there are a few extra days of breathing room there too. If Jacob Fowler were to make his NHL debut, it does seem like more so that idea of him playing against weaker teams in the NHL is more possible rather than them throwing him to the Wolves against Carolina or Toronto. But then again, Laval seems to be even more of a likely option than that. So we'll just wait and see here, folks. It does not seem like it's time to panic just yet. Then again, you know, we had this discussion yesterday with Trey Augustine in Detroit. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world if a goalie prospect decides to stay in the NCAA. It's just, unlike Augustine, Fowler is already one of the best goalies in the entire NCAA, where Augustine's like top 10, top 15, Fowler's like top 3. So there seriously is a better resume here and less of a, oh, he needs to prove himself more kind of idea floating around here. So Pierre Lebrun is going out there and calming all of our nerves. The Montreal Canadiens have officially added Oliver Kapanen today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all of these prospect updates and how well you think these guys are going to be able to perform towards the end of the year. For Jacob Fowler, if he stays in the NCAA, we're not going to be able to see him play any more games. But if he does join Laval, how well do you think he's going to perform over there? For Oliver Kapanen, how well do you think he's going to be playing on the Habs to end off the season? And do you think he should change his number from 91? That's a pretty interesting conversation topic too. Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.